Well, hey, y'all. My name is Willie Lawson, and welcome to the Saxophone Factory. I primarily teach beginners and intermediate students, and I know this is the beginning of school, and a lot of places, in the United States. I don't really know about the rest of the planet because I'm one of those Americans, right? Um, but I know a lot of people are starting school, and there are a lot of students. My students, I have a number of them that are starting off their first year in jazz band. Especially my saxophone students starting off their first year in jazz band. And for me, the cornerstone of jazz is improvisation. And a lot of times in the high school environment or even the middle school environment, what kids don't get to do is to learn about improvisation. And sometimes some of my adult students who would like to know about improvisation have always thought that it's too complicated and it's too hard and only really experienced, gifted musicians can learn to improvise. And I know there's a lot of improvisation videos here on YouTube, a ton, and a bunch of them are really good. But none of them approach it like I'm going to approach it with you right now. So get your instrument out, get out a pen and paper, do it, get out a pen and paper, and I'm going to lead you through a very easy way to get started on improvisation. We're going to start with a blues in B flat. All right. Now, what I'm going to ask you to do is every time you hear a chord change, I want you to raise your hand, because the most important part is being able to hear when the chord changes. That is the most important part. Because a lot of my students, my middle school students and my high school students, when they're learning to do improvisation, the rhythm section is playing chords, and they're not following these chords. They're just sort of playing whatever. They may be even just trying to be able to try to play in the key signature, and that isn't always the best option for the most interesting solos. So we're going to start from the most boring solos that are eminently correct to more advanced stuff as we move on. So as I play these chord changes, what I want you to do is I'm going to raise my hand. I want you to raise your hand every time you hear the chord change. Okay? First time through. Beginning. All right. Did you get it? If you didn't get it, go back, listen to it again, because that's going to be very important. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to play the root note of every single one of those chord changes. The root note, which is the first note, that is the first note of the scale that they are based on. So the first note for my alto players is going to be G. If you're talking about concert keys, it's going to be B flat concert. Then the second one is E flat concert, and the third one is B flat concert. Because I put the PDF in the of these chord changes in the description box, so you can follow along. All right, here we go. I'm gonna play the root notes of all the chord changes. I'm turn that up just a tidge. Here we go. Did you hear? Did you get them? Did you get them? You should have gotten them every time. Go back, rewind the video, listen carefully again. Listen carefully again. All right. Next part. I'm going to take those notes, those root notes, those bottom of the scale notes, and I'm going to add a rhythm to each of them. It doesn't matter what the rhythm is. But I'm going to play that rhythm on that note. I'm not going to change notes until the chord changes. You get that? I'm just going to play some rhythm. I'm going to articulate a rhythm. How about that? Just articulate a rhythm. Whatever. You'll get the idea as we move forward. You'll get the idea. But I'm not going to change notes until that chord changes, which is why it's so important that you make sure that you know when the chord changes, that you hear it when the chord changes. All right? Here we go. You'll catch on. It was almost the world's most boring solo, except that every note was correct. It was correct. And what I have found with my students, and maybe you, that wrong notes siphon away confidence. So in the beginning, especially in the beginning, we can avoid wrong notes, that might give us more confidence to play bigger, more strident wrong notes in the future. Now, what I want you to do, I want you to do what I just did. Okay? I want you to do what I just did. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to sit quietly and play the chords again while you do what I did. And I just played eighth notes. Da-da, da-da, da-da. That's all I did. So I want you to do that. Okay? Here we go. We're going to start going to bring the band back. Hey guys, it's not time for a break yet. Ready? Are you ready? can. Did you do it? Did you do it? Were you jamming? I bet you were jamming. Right? That's the beginning. That is, and a lot of times teachers will teach like blues scales, and you guys have all looked up blues scales on the internet, and the problem is that you'll try to use, there's nothing wrong with a blues scale, but you'll try to use the blues scale in all your improvisation, even things that aren't blueses. And that's when you play wrong notes, and that's when your confidence gets sucked out. So my way of thinking, it is a lot better to just learn chord changes and start at the beginning level of chord changes, and the ability to manipulate the notes inside the note choices that you have in the set of chord changes, than to try to first find some overarching thing that you can apply to everything. And because that one size fit all has never been the truth. Try being fat. And I'll tell you that one size fit all doesn't. It just doesn't. So that is the lesson today. Go back through this. Use the PDFs that I put in the description box as guidelines to go by. The chord sheet is in the concert key. So if you play alto or tenor, then you're going to have to transpose. Yes, I'm going to do shorts on transposing from alto and concert key and tenor to concert key. I am going to do that. I'm going to do it today. Today is Thursday, September 21st, 2023. I'm going to do it today. So you're going to see those shorts, so you can access those. How do I transpose from concert keys? Band directors use concert keys all the time, and they sort of they sort of think that we know what the heck they're talking about. No, we don't know what the heck they're talking about. We have no idea. But I'm putting the PDFs in concert key. That way everybody can sort of have access to it, and you can get practice in the transposition. Okay? Cool. All right. Do what we did there, and then we'll expand upon that in a little bit. All right? So, again, thank you for coming to the Saxophone Factory. And do we see you again? Keep playing.